8:19 here, Big 550, KTRS. The Guns and Hoses, which has traditionally been the day before Thanksgiving, has been a staple here in St. Louis, but with all the ongoing unrest and the police officers working 12-hour days back to back to back to back for weeks at a time, they decided to push off their biggest fundraiser, and the new date is January 30th. To talk about it is Chief Ron Battelle, the Executive Director of Backstoppers. Chief, welcome back to Big 550 KTRS.
Happy to be here.
This is the Backstoppers' biggest fundraiser of the year, right?
Absolutely. It's Guns and Hoses puts us on to support Backstoppers
Right.
and the families we take care of.
How many years has Backstoppers been doing Guns and Hoses?
28 years.
28
This'll be
years.
28.
It must have broken your heart that you had to cancel it the day after Thanksgiving.
That absolutely did break our heart. It was a tough decision. Personally, I didn't want to do it, but in the end, it turned out to be the right decision. So now we're ready to move on with January 30th.
Right. And why did you pick January 30th? I guess you have to sort of figure out a time that it all sort of works together, right?
Right, and availability of dates at Scott Trade Center is a key part of that. But, we feel right now, tickets are on sale, and now would be time to purchase stocking stuffers for
Right.
Christmas. It's
You
a
know,
good opportunity.
We were talking about it, that Wednesday before Thanksgiving is a great night to go out and to have a lot of fun. But there are a lot of people who can't go out that night for all sorts of reasons. So this
Right.
January 30th might actually bring in people who might never have gone to Guns and Hoses.
I think so, especially in light of what's occurred. There's a lot of interest throughout the community about when's Guns and Hoses going to be, and
Right.
we want to come and support those police, fire, and EMS officers. And I think it's going to be a great turnout. Our officers faced a lot of challenges over the past several months, so it's a good opportunity for the community to step forward and say we support you, men
Yeah.
and women.
All right, it's January 30th, Scott Trade Center. How do we get tickets?
Go to STLgunsandhoses.com, and the information is there. They're $15, $25, and $35.
And there are people who can't go, don't want to go, are busy, cannot go, but they would like to support Backstoppers. How can they do that?
The best way to do that is go to backstoppers.org, and you can make an online donation, which we have received a number of them lately.
Sure.
And it's a good way to do it. And I've always tell people whenever there's a need for in the St. Louis community, they step up to support Backstoppers.
Right.
They've done it in the past, and I'm sure they're going to do it again in the future.
It's an organization in which you hope all the money raised is never, ever used. But when it is used, what is it used for?
Well, we take complete care of these families. We're currently taking care of 66 families, which includes 64 kids. So, but we start with health insurance. We assume their whole debt, really, mortgages, car payments, credit card bills. We wipe them out.
Right.
And then
Also, kids with college, too. Don't
Yeah.
you help out with that, too, as well?
one of our biggest component is the education of the surviving spouses and the children. We'll take them all the way through college, in some cases even to graduate school. But,
Right.
Our commitment is not just, short term. We're with these people for years. We've got several of our survivors have been with us over 50 years. It's unbelievable, and we're still helping them day to day. And it just speaks to the character of the organization and the generosity of the people in St. Louis.
I would think when a family gets the call and says that your son, your daughter, your husband, your wife has been killed in the line of duty, either as a firefighter or a police officer, those first responders, it must be unimaginable the amount of pain and anguish you're dealing with that, and then you deal with how am I gonna make rent? How am I gonna make the mortgage? How am I gonna put food onto the table?
Right, and we step right in. We'll give them $5,000 right off the bat. Within a week or two, we take over all their financial obligations. We wipe the slate clean. We want these people to concentrate on living their lives, especially if they have children, raising their children. And, I've made that knock on the door in the past, and it's devastating these families. But as time goes on, it's amazing the courage they show as they rebuild their lives. And, if we're just playing a small part into rebuilding their lives for them, I think we're doing a good thing.
I don't want to get into the recent controversies with the police. That's not your role. That's not your job, and that's not here to talk about this. Just talk about Backstoppers, which has been going on for so long. But police officers who do their job on a daily basis, you can speak to this. They must at least feel somewhat better that, God forbid, something were to happen to them, there's the Backstoppers there for them.
Absolutely. I was police officer for 40 years, and, I've heard the comment many times that it's reassuring to all police, fire, and EMS officers out there to know that if something tragic does happen and they lose their life in the line of duty, that Backstoppers is going to be there to take care of their families. And we've proven over and over far too many times that we'll do that. 140 over the 55-year history, and as I said, 66 right now.
That's an extraordinary number, and it's good to know that Backstoppers isn't just there day one; it's there for the rest of their life.
Yeah, forever, I always say. And Guns and Hoses is a big part of supporting our budget. I mean, it's almost a third of our budget that is raised that night. So selling those tickets is important to us.
And all right, so Guns and Hoses, January 30th at the Scott Trade Center. Tickets are on sale. Where do we get tickets?
STLgunsandhoses.com.
STLgunsandhoses.com. And for people who just want to donate to the cause, where can we go there?
Backstoppers.org.
Backstoppers.org. January 30th. Are you going to move it back to the day after Thanksgiving next year?
That's our plan right now. We're going to get it back on schedule on Thanksgiving Eve.
And even though it's for a great cause and it's a great fundraiser, it actually is just a lot of fun.
It's a great social event. You see a lot of people you haven't seen in the past year,
right.
And it's it is fun, and it's a good way to pay tribute to these fallen heroes and these police and fire and EMS officers out there on the street.
I've been to a couple of Guns and Hoses, and what's really interesting is that a decent fight might break out every once in a while.
Actually, they've gotten a lot better over the last several years, and we have some good fights, and we're going to have some MMA fights in this year also, and it's going to be a good time.
I think you should have a celebrity grudge match. I think you should have a special celebrity grudge match, and if you pick the right partner, I will go and box him.
I think we could figure that one
out. Chief Ron Battelle, Executive Director of Backstoppers, January 30th. Thank you, sir, for all you do.
Thank you, McGraw, for all you do.
You got it. 8:26 here, Big 5.